Hello, guys. Welcome back to another election prediction. This time it's Donald Trump versus Ron DeSantis in a 2024 Republican primary. And this could happen if DeSantis continues his climb in the Republican primary. One poll showed him at like a solid 33% base of support. So this is kind of possible in an election scenario like this. So let's get straight into it. So, Iowa caucus, I think, would be pretty closely fought, but I think Trump would probably win by about a margin of 57% to 42% in the state of Iowa. But this would be a pretty strong showing for DeSantis, and this would show he's not messing around, and you'll have some decent base of supporters. Then we move to the state of New Hampshire. I think Trump would probably around that margin. DeSantis would get around 40%. He would get some of the never Trumpers to vote for him in the primary. So that would add on to his 33% base of support. Now, the one state I could see DeSantis winning is probably South Carolina, because that is part of the Sun Belt, technically. It's part of the southern areas. And I think he'll be pretty strong in the South. I think he could get a narrow victory over Trump, which is pretty shocking. DeSantis' rise is pretty real. He's doing extremely well in the primary polling. However, Trump would probably win the state of Nevada back, probably around, I actually think it would be pretty narrow, 52 to 48. I could see it getting quite close, but I think Trump would still pull it out. So I'm not going to do the margins for each state, but we're going to get into just filling them out for each candidate. So one state I think DeSantis could win in the New England area is probably Vermont. I mean, that was pretty anti-Trump before. They have a pretty liberal Republican governor. So I think some of them would come out for DeSantis, even though DeSantis is more to the right of Trump. They just dislike Trump enough that they would rather vote for someone as long as they're not him. However, I think Trump would probably win Massachusetts. He has a pretty reliable base there. And he would probably win, I would say probably win the state of Maine, honestly. It would be pretty close, though. DeSantis has a shot there. All right, so the next state would be Alabama. I think DeSantis would probably win. I mean, it borders Florida. I think he'll have a decent base of support here. Same with Georgia, honestly. I think he'll have a pretty decent base of support here, and these are states he could rely on. While Trump would probably win in the state of Virginia, even though Glenn Youngkin is a moderate. The whole primary electorate there is pretty Trumpy, so probably like 60-40. Same with Tennessee, honestly. I think that's pretty reliable Trump base, even though it is part of the South. The state of North Carolina. I'm not really sure which way it would go. I think DeSantis might have a little bit more sway here than Donald Trump would. Be pretty close, and I think it would be a narrow DeSantis victory. The state of Arkansas and Oklahoma, I think those are pretty reliable Trump states, so probably easily win them. Even the state of Texas, I think DeSantis could have a shot here at actually winning this state, but I think it would still be a narrow Donald Trump victory. The state of Colorado and Utah, I think these would be, especially Utah's Mormon population, would really help him out in this state. And the state of Colorado, I think he would probably appeal pretty well here because of how bad Trump did in the election in 2020. He lost by like 13 points. So I think the GOP electorate here would consider DeSantis over Trump. Now we go on to the state of Minnesota. I still think Trump would get a victory here. I still think he has a lot of strength on the Rust Belt, and he'll get an easy victory here, probably about 10 to 15 points. State of Idaho, again, has a pretty sizable Mormon population, and I think that might give DeSantis the edge here, and he would probably win this state. The state of California, I see going to Trump. It would be pretty close, though. 10% margin. I think DeSantis would have a shot here. But then again, it's winner take all some of these states, so Trump's delegate lead would probably get pretty big. DeSantis might drop out at this point, but I think, let's just do hypothetically, he stays in for a bit longer. State of Louisiana, Kentucky, and Kansas usually go around this time. I think they would probably all be Trump victories. The one state that would be close would be Louisiana, but I still think it would be a Trump victory nonetheless. All right, the next states to go. Oh yeah, DC usually goes pretty early in the Republican primary, which I noticed. State of Florida, no doubt, would go to DeSantis. DeSantis would actually have a shot in Ohio, Illinois, and Missouri. He'd get decent margins there. The one state I think he'd probably win would probably be Illinois of all of them. He might get enough moderate Republicans in the Chicago area to come out for him, but it'd be a very, very close battle, and Trump could possibly win there. But I think DeSantis would get the victory narrowly. While Trump would win Mississippi, Missouri, Ohio, and then we go to Arizona, and I think there's a sizable amount of never Trumpers here and Mormons that DeSantis would probably win in this state. DeSantis probably would win Wyoming too. They do it like with the party selecting the delegates. I'm not sure if they would change it by now though, but yeah, that's how I'd see it currently going. And the rest of the states, like honestly, look at this map, and DeSantis might actually have a shot now. So I think he would stay in if he won this much. State Alaska, I think, would go to Trump. Hawaii, DeSantis could have a real shot there. But I think I'm not really sure. Hawaii's a big question mark for me. I think I would give it to Trump. The territories, I think, would pretty much all go to Trump. I'm not sure DeSantis would have any shot of winning them. The one state I think DeSantis could do well in is probably New Mexico. He could carry that. While Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, I think would all go to Trump. Then we go to the Northeast and the Midwest, and this is where, like, it's pretty much over for DeSantis. I think Trump would probably sweep every single state, except for Maryland. If Larry Hogan endorses DeSantis, he could have a shot here. So that's the one caveat there. But the rest of these states I'd see easily going to Trump, while he also gets Washington and Oregon. So that's my election prediction. If it was DeSantis versus Donald Trump, let me know what you think of this in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.